Ok, legal, tá bom, normal.
Não ter potência para fazer uma ultrapassagem segura não é legal. Mude para um Raval H6, o híbrido que conquistou o Brasil. E tem até 393 cavalos de potência e 77,7 quilos de torque. Raval H6, a linha SUV eletrificada mais completa do país. GWM, Hello Tomorrow. Paz no trânsito começa por você.
Today on CityCast Houston, Texas builders are sending warning signs to President-elect Trump about why mass deportations of undocumented immigrants could collapse our local construction industry. Plus, Thanksgiving is going to be a bit more affordable this year, but are we really feeling it? Like enough to go buy 2 pies instead of 1? And I'm not sure if this is a congrats or a what are we doing here, H-Town? But we were named the most lustful city in the nation. Hey, Houston newsletter editor Brooke Lewis joins me to break down those stories and more. It's Tuesday, November 26th. I'm Raheel Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about. Hey, what's up, Brooke? Good morning. How are you?
Doing well on this Thanksgiving week. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. The excitement of family coming to town is here. We are grocery shopping, trying to knock everything out. Have you started your grocery shopping for Thanksgiving yet?
Well, I am not the main person doing the Thanksgiving meal, so I feel like I just need to show up with a good dessert and all will be well in my household. So I'm all good on the Thanksgiving shopping.
Nice. Hey, that's good. Well, for the people who are shopping, Thanksgiving is going to be a little bit more affordable this year, as the average cost for feeding 10 people is around $60, according to the 39th Annual American Farm Bureau Federation Thanksgiving Dinner Survey. I didn't know this was a thing, by the way. We're in the 39th year of this, but shout out to them because they've been tracking the prices. Now, prices are down 5% from last year, but still 20% higher than 2019, Brooke.
Yeah, I still think people are feeling the pinch, and I don't know, like it does feel better than a couple of years ago because I feel like it was ruthless in the grocery store. Like the prices were really bad,
Yeah.
but it's still not the best. So I do feel for people who have large families and are trying to shop on a budget. So good news that it's better, but I'm hoping it'll be even better next Thanksgiving.
I really hope so because things are still expensive. Like there's no way around it, right? I know the numbers say that it's a little bit more affordable now, but it is expensive. And of course, turkey is the biggest expense when it comes to Thanksgiving. So a 16-pound turkey right now is going to cost about $26 nationally. And right now here locally on the HEB app, you can get a 12 to 16-pound turkey between $21 to $28, which feels like it is affordable. So that's a little relief there.
Yes. So for those who want the turkey, I think it's going to be a good year for you. I think each Thanksgiving has made me less into turkey, which is probably the opposite effect that it should have.
Yeah, I like it when people do the sides giving. We heard Lucio Vasquez talk about it. They did it at News 88.7 the other day. But yeah, I like that sides giving. That's the superstar, right? The sides are really the superstars of the meal. But turkey, you got to have it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody eats it, but you still got to have it as the focal point. But I just want to bring that up and get things going, that things are a little bit more affordable. But hey, look, we're still feeling it, right? Like you look at the rest of the items and some of the prices are down, but man, it still feels so expensive. But I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving and hopefully you can feed 10 people for under $60.
Yeah. So the story I want to talk about today is around the Texans. So I always know if the Texans are having a good week or a bad week when I call my dad, who has been a diehard fan since I was in elementary school. So he loves the Texans. And this weekend, when I called him, he did not have anything really positive to say. So I already knew that the Texans did not
It was not
have
a good week.
yeah, the Texans did not have a good week. But that's not the only thing that the Texans need help with. So NRG Stadium, where the Texans play, is in dire need of repairs, with a report stating they need to replace the 22-year-old retractable roof, the 11-year-old video boards, and they need to do more repairs beyond that. The report actually is from 2019, and it recommended at least 264 million worth of upgrades, but Harris County is only putting in 35 million to fund a new roof, sound system, and video boards. So, Raheel, I know you went to your first game in 7 years over the weekend, and I just wondered, what was your experience at NRG Stadium? What were you thinking?
Yeah. So for me, first of all, the product on the field was not good, right? I was the one who said, like, this is a Super Bowl level team. This is going to be
Yes.
great. They are not playing Super Bowl level football. They lost to a 2-win team going into that weekend, the Tennessee Titans. It was embarrassing, okay? Being in the stands, we were all so frustrated. And my daughter, my 9-year-old daughter, kept looking at me and just laughing after every play because she's like, why are you so frustrated? But product notwithstanding, I will say going to NRG Stadium felt like the stadium was in the best shape it's ever been in, okay? The roof was closed for the game. The video boards look fine, but with the video boards, Mitsubishi, that's the company that owns and helps the Texans run it, they're just saying that the video boards are so old that if something happens, they don't have the parts to repair it. So, like, be proactive and replace them now. But everything was great. And they also have like a fan-friendly menu now, so things are more affordable. Getting into the stadium was super easy. Now, of that money that Harris County is putting in, that $35 million, can we allocate like $1 million to parking flow? Because it absolutely sucks at NRG Stadium. When you park in one of the Texans' lots, it took us an hour to get out of the lots, and there was nobody helping. Like, it was terrible. So can we help with that as well if we're going to upgrade the roof or replace it and upgrade the video boards? Because the actual fan experience, I believe, is more important than some of these upgrades, because I don't want to go back to a game now because of how long it took to get out of there. And imagine how it's going to be when Beyonce plays on the 25th, right? On Christmas. Like, the parking is going to be terrible. But I thought the stadium overall, Brooke, it was good. It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar experience. I got to go last season for their New Year's Eve game, which was really fun. And the stadium was awesome. I mean, the fan experience was great. But we didn't park for that very reason that you described. We Ubered, we got dropped off. And I just wanted to avoid parking altogether because I feel like that has been my experience, just waiting for an hour or waiting longer to leave the stadium. And I think that could be money well spent for fans who, as their fan base increases, because they have been playing well, despite, I know, some of the downfalls. But people are getting really excited about the Texans again. And so I think that they really need to invest in parking so people don't have a headache when they're trying to leave the games.
And maybe it's turning the Astrodome into a parking garage because, by the way, I haven't forgotten about you, Astrodome, and people were not happy with me saying just tear it down. When you walk by the Astrodome, it's ugly now. There's no way around it. It just looks terrible when you're so close to it. But Harris County is doing another study to figure out what to do with the Astrodome after we got the new $1 billion proposal to revitalize the iconic structure earlier this month. They're going to do a cost analysis to see what's the best option here, to restore it or to tear it down. So there is that as well happening on the NRG complex. And look, NRG Stadium now is 22 years old. So at some point, you're going to have to upgrade these things. And there is a cost that comes with having these huge stadiums and world-class stadiums, frankly, because of all the events that are hosted there. So you're going to have to do some of that upkeep.
Wow, shots fired, tear it down. I'd have to disagree. I think let's keep it. I mean, it's Houston history. We got to keep it. We got to keep it.
The history will still be there, Brooke. The history will always be there. It'll be in our hearts and in our textbooks if state lawmakers allow it, right? Because of bookends. Okay, I want to talk about this story that a lot of people might not know about and the impact. So there's a huge cryptocurrency mining industry in Texas because of how affordable it is to set up these huge facilities in Texas, but they use up so much of our electricity. So let me explain this because this is confusing. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, they're created using thousands of supercomputers in a warehouse that run all day long, and they use up massive energy from our main grid and actually create issues for local residents because of this huge energy drain from the computers. They also have these fans that will cool down the computers. So this thing is truly impacting all of us. And a lot of people didn't know about it, right? Because, well, it's just frankly not in the mainstream media being covered. So finally, the Public Utilities Commission of Texas is requiring these huge operations to register with them to show how much energy they're using. And this is important. Here's why. Because if there is a big natural disaster coming, they can now reach out to these companies and say, hey, you got to turn these things off because we need all of this power. And if they don't register, Brooke, they're going to face a $25,000 fine per day.
Wow.
Now, I know you have a lot of questions about this. I love cryptocurrency and like that whole industry. So hit me with them. What questions do you have?
One, how have they been able to not be regulated, like the amount of electricity that they've been using for this long? Because I just think about how we've had so many power outages, problems with natural disasters over the last few years in Houston, and just how they're sucking out a lot of our electricity that we need, and they're not regulated. How has that been happening, Raheel?
Well, because they're using so much energy and people are making money off of this, right? Like whether it be ERCOT, whether it be companies that are selling the energy like a third-party vendor, right? Everyone's making money off of this. That's why. And by the way, the New York Times did a study on this. 5 of the 10 largest Bitcoin mining operations were in Texas using thousands of megawatts of energy. Okay, that's a lot, y'all. That is a lot. So it's because people are making money. But at some point, you got to say, is it worth it for this money and what it costs to the public, right? When it comes to these major events.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they'll now have to pay a fine because, I mean, as we know, power outages are just becoming more of part of a Houstonian's everyday life. And I'm sure that this news is going to bring some peace of mind to some people wondering, how electricity is being used and who's using it. And it's just, I feel a little bit more peace of mind, but I had no idea this was going on.
Yeah, it is massive and it is so fascinating. And again, they just have to register with the Public Utilities Commission of Texas. They're not being regulated. They're not telling to stop using power. It's just when there's an emergency, now we know who to reach out to and say, hey, please, don't mind today. All right. We are in dire need of energy. So please stop. So that is really, really big. All right, Brooke, it's Tuesday, so we're going to do some lightning round here, and I've got the first story. Growth in construction is a big part of our greater Houston area and Texas in general, and local construction companies are sounding the alarms of the consequences if President-elect Trump follows through on his pledge to deport undocumented immigrants once he takes office. Stan Merrick is the CEO of Merrick, which is a Houston-based residential and retail construction company. He told the Texas Newsroom that, quote, it would devastate our industry, the construction industry. We wouldn't finish our highways. We wouldn't finish our schools. Housing would disappear. Wow. And I think they'd lose half the labor if President Trump were to go through with this mass deportation plan. What are your thoughts?
Wow. Those stats are really just eye-opening, but I'm also not surprised because I think that people don't realize how much we rely on undocumented immigrants for our construction industry and just how valuable and important they are to just our society. And I saw one report that found that nearly 60% of the construction industry in Texas is made up of undocumented immigrants. And yeah, that stat is, surprising, but also not, because I just think we have relied on undocumented immigrants
And Brooke, sorry to cut you off there, but the reason we are relying so much on undocumented immigrants, Ray Perryman is an economist, and he actually pointed this out. He said the Texas workforce just isn't large enough to keep pace with the growth that we're experiencing. So that's why we need so many undocumented immigrants to be part of the construction industry. And again, they are a big part of our community. They're a big part of our economy. They're a big part of everything we do in Texas. And that's what makes us so great, right? Especially in Houston, you think about the diversity, you think about the growth that we're experiencing. We need every single person. And this would be terrible on the human side of things, right? When you think about these families that will get deported, and also if it's just some members being deported, it would tear families apart. And then looking at it from the impacts, it would just devastate all of our construction.
Yeah. I think people definitely have heard the emotional and personal impact of this story, but don't realize the financial implications of what that would actually mean if that many people were deported and what that would look like for Texas, because Texas is just going to get bigger. We're just going to have more people moving. We're going to need more homes. We're going to need more buildings.
Mhm.
And if we don't have the workforce to sustain that, what does that look like for our state? What does that look like for Houston?
I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine it.
Yeah, so I have a follow up to a story that happened earlier this month. A woman has now been charged with murder for a fire that happened in East End earlier this month. So Yesenia Mendes, who was accused of actually starting that fire that killed Houston firefighter Marcelo Garcia, has now been charged with murder. So the fire caused a wall to collapse on Garcia, who later died at the hospital.
Oh.
He was the first Houston firefighter to die from injuries suffered since 2013. So it's a rare incident. And Mendes is also facing 2 charges of arson, causing bodily injury or death. But this murder charge is the latest charge. And what a tragic incident.
Yeah, Brooke, this is absolutely heartbreaking. And, when I see stories like this, when a person passes away because of somebody's actions, and that could have been easily avoided, right? Like if she didn't start this fire, this person would be alive, right? And
Yeah.
it's just so sad. And it just breaks my heart.
Yeah, because you just think about, that's their job that they're doing. People become firefighters because they're selfless human beings and they're just
Mhm.
looking to help and save others in the community. And so to think that they end up actually losing their life, it is always so sad.
Okay, Brooke, I've got one more story here in Lightning Round, and this is about Poncho Claus. Do you know who Poncho Claus is?
Yes, I mean, how can you be a Houstonian and not know who
Yeah.
Poncho Claus is?
So, yeah, Poncho Claus, who is actually Richard Reyes, he's 73 years old, and he's been just a staple of not only the Houston community, but also in the Rio Grande Valley areas. He dresses up as Poncho Claus every year, and it started in 1981, and he provides toys for underserved children and participates in parades. He has done so many fundraisers to benefit not only children in Houston, but as I mentioned, the Rio Grande Valley areas as well. He'll present thousands, 20,000 presents almost every single year. Well, Poncho Claus is undergoing heart surgery after suffering a heart attack this year, Brooke, and we're wishing him the best of health. And oh my gosh, no, not Poncho Claus.
I know. I mean, I'm hoping that he has a speedy recovery and just sending good thoughts his way and definitely praying for him.
I hope there's a second Poncho Claus ready to take over for him, because I don't know if he'll be medically cleared to go out and be so active, right? Because heart surgery is huge and it takes time to recover. So I hope somebody else steps in and just dons the Poncho Claus
Yes.
outfit for this year, right?
Yes, we need a Poncho Claus, maybe just act 2. Like
Yeah.
who's gonna be the next Poncho Claus? Just replacement, just for now, because we know he's gonna be back next Christmas.
Yeah, it's like Batman, right? Like when
Yeah.
you need a Batman in training, like Robin, who's going to be the new Batman, right? That's what we're worried about. But we're wishing the best to Richard Reyes. And thank you so much for everything he has done for so many communities, and can't wait to see him back. Maybe it's this year, but hopefully for sure next year. All right, Brooke, it is time for Only in H-Town. This is how we end our Tuesday episodes. And I love this segment, but you kick it off. What do you got for me?
Yeah, so I just wanted to pay respect to a beloved Houstonian. Chauncey Glover, a former ABC 13 anchor, died earlier this month in Los Angeles, and he was remembered by friends and family over the weekend during a memorial service at Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. Shout out Wheeler, I grew up going there. Erica Lee Carter is the late Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee's daughter. She actually talked about Glover's friendship with her mom, and she also presented a letter of sympathy from President Joe Biden First Lady Jill Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, which I thought was really sweet and special to honor someone who was so beloved in the Houston community, not only by friends and family, but by so many people who watched him daily on ABC 13.
Yeah, Chauncey Glover was such a big part of so many Houstonians' lives, obviously being on ABC 13 and Houstonians watching him every single day when he was here, but also because of how much he gave back through his foundation, the Chauncey Glover Foundation, where he would help out youth in our community. You know, he would mentor them, he would help them get to college. So to see this letter being sent by the president and first lady and also VP Kamala Harris just shows you what a true impact he had on our community. Rest in peace, Chauncey. Okay, I'm going to get to my Only in H-Town. And remember, Only in H-Town, they're awesome stories of people like Chauncey. And they're also fun stories. And sometimes we do have adult-themed topics. And today is one of those. So this is a good time to pause this episode. If you have kids in the car and you want to resume this later on headphones, that'd be great. But here we go. Congratulations, H-Town. We were named the #1 most lustful city in the nation according to Wallet Hub. How do we feel, Brooke? #1 according to Wallet Hub when it comes to lust.
Honestly, I don't see it. Like, I see it, but I don't. I understand it, but I don't. I'm like, when I think about other cities across the country, I feel like we're not #1.
Wow. I totally disagree, but here's what went into it, okay? According to Wallet Hub, we have the most adult entertainment establishments per capita. Our Google searches for adult entertainment and also Tinder were some of the top searches. And then also teen birth rate is part of the most lustful category. Okay, there's that. But I totally agree with the adult entertainment establishments. We are known for some of the biggest and best, according to plenty of people in the hip hop culture, okay? Because every song is about Houston's adult entertainment scene. Now, I don't partake in it, but even if you're just driving around, you see so many strip clubs.
No, that is true. I feel like driving on Westheimer, it is not rare to see that. I just think it's not a part of my world. So I'm like, I don't know how we could get #1. I'm thinking about Vegas. I'm thinking about other cities that would have more of that. I'm thinking, what happened to our reputation that we gained during Harvey? Or are we just over it, the helping somebody, volunteering, most kind-hearted city?
You can be both. You can be both,
true.
right? Like you can help out your fellow neighbor and then also drive down 59 and see that huge Colorado sign, which is an adult entertainment venue, right? Like it is part of our culture, unfortunately. And also there is the human impact of this, Brooke, because human trafficking is a major issue for the city of Houston. We have done episodes on this, and I will link those in our show notes if you want to listen to them. So there is that side of, everything going on with all these adult entertainment clubs. We saw a huge bust last month that impacted a lot of bars and adult entertainment venues as well. So we see this, downfall as well. By the way, you brought up Vegas. We were the #2 most sinful city behind Sin City itself, Las Vegas. So we're catching up. I didn't know it was like this.
Yeah. And I do think that is the scary impacts of that when you're talking about human trafficking and just people who are young that get caught up in that industry. It is really scary. And I didn't realize just how big Houston was a part of it until I did some reporting back at the Houston Chronicle about that. So it really is eye-opening and it can be scary. But, Houston will Houston. That's all I got to say.
We will. That's only in H-Town. Only in H-Town, Brooke. Hey, have a great Thanksgiving and good luck shopping for your desserts. All right. I'm glad you don't have to go in and get too much stuff. But for everyone else, be safe out there. It is a time where a lot of people are on the road. A lot of people are at the grocery stores. Don't let your emotions get the best of you, okay? Things are going to be a little hectic. So just take a deep breath.
I got this. I feel like I understand the craziness and I'm ready for it because I'm ready to eat my good meal, my good Thanksgiving meal.
Thanks, Brooke.
Bye, Raheel.
That was Brooke Lewis. Be sure to subscribe to Hey Houston for the latest news, events, and happenings around H-Town. Are you hitting the road for Thanksgiving? Download episodes of CityCast Houston to keep you entertained and share this podcast with 3 friends who are also traveling for the holidays. Please be sure to drop a rating and review wherever you're listening. Thanks. That will do it for today. I'm Raheel Ramzanali. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new. Hold on. Because let me pick that up.
Oh no. Am I frozen? Oh, that was weird. I thought I was frozen, Raheel. I don't know if
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.